Hey YouTube, what's going on? And welcome back to Cairo and his things. I'm excited to say that today we're going to be looking at the Wuben X1 Falcon. Let's go ahead and get started with the basic specifications on this light. As far as size, we're looking at 129 millimeters top to bottom, or that's 5.08 inches. And we're looking at 56 millimeters on the head, and that is 2.2 inches wide. And then as far as weight, we're looking at 13.5 ounces. Now let's get to the emitters here. As you can see, we've got 3 emitters, and all 3 of those are XHP 70.2s. And as I've said on this channel many times, I'm a fan of any of the Cree XHP emitters. So these are a very floody emitter, and you can see here that it actually has orange peel reflectors as well. So that actually allows the beam to be even more spread out and more floody on top of this crazy lumen output that we see. Now, what's actually powering this light inside is two 21700 batteries. However, these are kind of meant to be more proprietary, and that kind of scared me away from this light for quite a while. As much as I wanted this, I was a little bit concerned about the fact that, okay, well, once the batteries go down, then the light's dead. But that's not the case. This can actually be unscrewed, and you can take those 21700 batteries out and replace them if need be. Just note that if you do that before the warranty is up, it can void your warranty, and it can also be a bit difficult because of how tight the springs are inside to replace them yourself, but it is possible. So just note, if down the line, if you get 5 to 10 years down the road or whatever, and a battery goes bad on you, you can open it up and replace it. You just need to be careful. Now, with that said, this does have USB-C recharging. So there's our port right there. And there it is opened up. This light does tell you its current battery life. So when you turn it on, this little spot right there in the middle of the button is going to tell you what your battery life is at. So if I turn mine on, you can see that mine's actually flashing blue. So what that means is that if it's a constant blue, you're anywhere between 90 to 100%, so you're basically battery full. However, if it's flashing blue, that's where you're under 90% now, and so that's anywhere from 40 to 90%. And so I've been using mine a bit, so that doesn't surprise me. Now, if you're on constant red, you're between 15 to 40%. And if it's blinking red, you're under 15% and definitely need to charge the battery. Now, as far as what the X1 comes with, it does not come with a clip. However, it does come with a couple options as substitutes. So it came with that camouflage lanyard that we saw in the unboxing part of this video. However, I'm just not personally a fan of it. I think that the material used on it is a bit rough, and I do not enjoy that feeling on my wrist. And being that I'm mainly going to use this with a lanyard, I went ahead and threw this adjustable Wuben lanyard that I had sitting around from my Wuben L1. So I threw that on there and it works great. However, it also comes with this holster here, and it's actually a really nice holster. Got that clip in the front. So strap for your belt, everything looks good on it. We can actually go ahead and just throw this in here to show you how well that fits in there. So it's great. Great holster. So if you're more of a holster person, especially for a little bit of a bigger light, or maybe you're going to throw this in your backpack or something like that, then I'd recommend just go ahead and put it in the holster to help protect it a little bit more. So really glad that they added that holster in there. Now as we move down the light a little bit, you'll see on this side right here, just above the USB cover, it's got a heat sink in there. And if we flip the light over, that's actually a cooling fan. So when you turn this light on turbo, it takes it, I don't know, maybe 20 to 30 seconds or so, enough time to let the light start to get a little bit warm in the head. That fan will kick on, and it's actually really going to help regulate the heat, and it's going to help it sustain and hold high outputs for much longer. Now let's go ahead and move on to my major gripe that I have with this light. And I hate to even say that because this has been my grail light for so long. I'm so excited to have it, but I do have one issue with this light, and that's the button on this. Now, don't get me wrong. The actual plate that they use for the button is awesome. I love it. It's the same texture as the Wuben X3 and very similar to what you see on the back of a Sofern SC32 and a Workhos TS10. I love the feeling of that button plate right there. What I don't love is the mechanism and the way that it fits in. So if you could see, it's recessed down in there. And normally you'd probably think, oh, that's great to help it not turn on. But it doesn't seem to be cut out to fit right. I don't know that it's going to come out on camera. But if I just lightly press my finger, against the button, it makes this annoying popping noise where it's clearly not in there in the correct dimensions that it should be. So it's just kind of off. So meaning you never get, when you click the button in, you never get a good satisfying click on it, ever. Now, I recently did a review of a different light of the Emerald LD70, which was a neat little light, but had a button that constantly got stuck. This one doesn't constantly get stuck like that, but it does occasionally get stuck to one side if you don't click it perfectly central. And additionally, I did accidentally turbo myself in the face with this once. Wasn't super happy about that. So point is that on a nearly $200 light, I really think that they should have quality tested this button a bit more. But don't let that be enough to really deter you from this light, because it is still a good button. It works every time. You know, when I click it, it's not getting stuck every time. It does have a little bit of flaws there where it can get a little bit janky occasionally. So on a $40 or under light, that wouldn't be much of an issue to me. But on a nearly $200 light, I just wish that the button was implemented a bit better. And that's why I'm going to grade it a little bit tougher on its button. Now let's look at the actual performance of this light. As far as the claims, the turbo is claimed to hit 12,000 lumens, and then the high mode is 2600, and then it goes down to 1000, and then 400, and then 20. Now this does have a buck driver on it, so you are getting a premium quality driver on this light, which is going to allow this to have better run times. So on that turbo mode, it will last for 1 minute before it steps down. Now on high mode, you get 2 hours of that 2600 lumens. On the 1000, you get 5.5 hours. On the 400 lumens, you get 14 hours. And on the 20 lumens, you get 220 hours. There is no other light on the market that is putting out those types of output and runtime combinations in a light this size. Now, one thing I do want to note is on the max turbo settings, I don't have a way to accurately test this myself, but based on multiple people's reports, they seem to be claiming anywhere from max at 8,500 lumens to 10,500 lumens. Now, that's quite a difference right there, but the point is, even if you average that out, and let's just say it maxes out at 9,500 lumens on turbo, that is significantly lower than the 12,000 lumen claim. Now, are you really going to notice a big difference with the naked eye between 12,000 and 9,500 on this light? No, probably not really. But I just think that if it's going to claim 12,000, it should be within that 11,000 range. Like it should be like 11.6 or 11.7 or something like that. It should be able to come close, because I understand that when they claim it, it was in the ideal perfect scenario and situation, right? So if it was close to that, then cool. But I think that this should probably be listed as a 10,000 lumen turbo light, not a 12,000 lumen turbo light. It's still extremely bright though. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the user interface. This has a very standard, easy to use user interface that we see on a lot of lights. It's a basic click on, click off. Okay, so nothing weird there. And then from off, you can also hold for its lowest setting, which is the 20 lumen mode. When it's on, you can hold to rotate and cycle between your light output modes. You can double click from on or off for turbo. And you can triple click for strobe. And it also has memory mode. So everything there is pretty standard. And it's also even got a lockout mode, which probably won't hurt to use if you think you might accidentally turn this on in your pocket. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we just locked out the light. So now if I try to turn it on, all it does is give me a little blankie on the button. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to turn it back off. And we're out of lockout mode. So this has a very standard user interface, one that I really like, and it's easy to use. But this comes with an extra feature that I think really helps set it above the rest when it comes to user interfaces. And that is that when you are on a light output, let's say that you're on the 1000 lumen mode, you can actually click plus hold. So you'd click it once and then hold the button, and that actually allows you to adjust the brightness level of that mode. And that will actually keep that in place for future uses. So you can adjust and customize how bright each mode is. So here's the window for the modes, and the only one you can't do that on is turbo. But for the highest mode, other than turbo, you can actually customize it to be anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 lumens. On the 1,000 lumen mode, you can actually customize that anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000. And then on the 400 mode, you can customize that anywhere from 400 to 1,000. And on the 20 lumen mode, you can customize that to be anywhere from 20 to 400. So you've got big windows to work with there. If you prefer a little bit of brighter, a little bit dimmer, whatever it may be on each light output, it's up to you. And I love that you can customize how bright your light is. That is a wonderful feature, and I'm super glad to see it. So now that we've talked about the user interface and we've talked about the output, let's actually take a look at the beam shots. And now that we've got to take a look at those beam shots and how truly impressive this flashlight is, especially for the size, let's look at some different notes that we have on the light here. For one, it's extremely durable. And I mentioned this when I reviewed the Wuben X2, and that it was significantly stronger than what I expected on the body of the light. It felt like a tank. Well, you can probably only imagine then how strong and durable this X1 feels. This thing is durable. I genuinely believe that you could drop this over and over and be just fine. I don't know that there's any light on the market that I've seen that just feels like complete steel. You know, it feels so tough, even though that's aluminum. I mean, this thing feels like an absolute tank, and it feels like an even stronger, bigger version of the X2. I will say, though, on this bottom, I don't know if anybody else was fooled by this, if you ended up purchasing one, but I thought that this was going to be rubber, like a hard rubber on the bottom to help it and to kind of protect it when smacking it on the ground or standing it up or whatever. I think just the color change there, but that's actually just all the same thing as the body there. It's all one piece. It's just a different color. I think maybe I'd even prefer it to be a hard rubber, but I think that it's fine no matter what. Like I said, super durable feeling. Now, I also think that this absolutely has no real competition on the market, and that's what makes this so special. And just to kind of give you an idea, if anybody else reads Grizzly's reviews online, his flashlight reviews, he actually made the Wuben X1 his #1 flutter light. It's what he uses as his flutter flashlight, as his go-to. And I think that's really saying something based on the amount of lights that he reviews. And I can see why. This thing is really unmatched. I don't know of any light that can comfortably fit in your pocket, put out this kind of performance as far as output levels, while also keeping those run times and just allowing everything to run and be so smooth. Outside of a very meh or okay button, everything else on this light is pretty much 10 out of 10, okay? So like, it's hard to beat this light, and I just don't really see anything competing with it. The other day I was really thinking about this, and I thought, you know, I have probably around 50 flashlights right now or so, and if I don't get rid of some soon, I'm probably going to be on my way up to triple digits soon. So I've got a lot of flashlights, and I was thinking, if I can only keep one flashlight, which one would I keep? And I think where I stand right now is I would keep the Wuben X1. It's just too usable. It's just too good. I think that that is really saying something based on a lot of the lights that I own, that I reviewed, and the fact that this one is the one that I would keep, even with a very meh button. And the button is important to me. It's just too great of a product for me to keep anything above it, to be honest with you. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at pricing. We are looking at $178 for the black version on Wuben Direct's website, or $199 for this white version on their direct website. Now, if you get it on Amazon, it's an extra dollar. It's $179, but that's for the black or the white version. So I guess if you're looking for the white version, you're better off going on Amazon, but if you're looking for the black one, you're good either way. I think the thing that I would have to leave you with on this video is that if you have the ability to get this light, my question is, why haven't you gotten it yet? I don't believe that there's anything else on the market that can compete with this, and I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching.